Hi everyone, this is Robbie from PocketLab, and I just wanted to take a quick second to show you some of the new features of PocketLab Notebook, our newest PocketLab software that we're launching here. So if you're familiar with the PocketLab web app, you go on a Google Chrome browser, you're going to go to the PocketLab.com/app, and you're going to see a screen that looks like what you're seeing here, which is very similar to what you maybe have seen before if you've used our older version of the app. The buttons here are just square instead of circle, and the app has a nice new look to it. So the first button you're going to click, the main button you would click here, is Connect to PocketLab Sensors, and that's going to get you connected to a PocketLab device. You still have the ability to connect to Velocity Lab, our other version of our app that you can use for doing position, velocity, and acceleration experiments in a really unique way. And then finally, you can still connect to internal device sensors. Those are sensors on your computer or on your phone or tablet, and you can use those sensors to record data as well. So you click that button. Okay, so if I click Connect to PocketLab, just like before, I get a connection screen. I click Pair, and now I am paired to my PocketLab, so I can move it around, record data. Everything is the same as it was before in this screen here. So I'm going to record some PocketLab data. I click Stop. And then down here, I have the ability still to export that data, either save it locally, download a CSV file to my computer, or upload it directly to Google Drive. There is another button. There's a button that says Save. If I click that, it's going to ask me to log into my PocketLab Notebook account. So this is where things are a little bit different. You can create a PocketLab Notebook account where you can save all of your recorded data trials to the cloud, to your account, and then you can access those trials later, access them from any device. So in order to do that, I need to log in. So I'll show you how to log in here. So if I click Save, you'll get a screen that asks if you want to log in. Or if I go up here and I click Login, you'll get a screen that asks you if you want to log in. So you would want to either log in with your username or create an account. So I'm going to click Create an Account right now. And you'll be asked to put in your email, make a password, and then we'll send you a verification email where you put in a verification code to get your account created. Okay, so now I've created an account and I'm in the PocketLab Notebook. And now you'll see that when I record trials, if I record some data, I can click Save. And that data is now saved into my notebook as a trial, and I can go back and view that at any point. Also, when going back and looking at your saved trials, you can do things like add notes and you can title the trials, and so you can add some context to maybe some of the data that you were recording. So that's just one of the features that you get with a PocketLab Notebook account, the ability to save and record data directly to a timeline of your trials instead of having to export that data as a CSV file. Another feature you have with PocketLab Notebook is the ability to create lab reports. So if I go over here and I click on Lab Report Library, I can create a new lab report. And you might want to create a new lab report if you want to investigate a scientific question and you want to record data. And then in a lab report, you can make observations, add images of your setup, make a hypothesis, even add videos. So you can do a lot more than just collect your data in a lab report. You can put some context around it so you can answer a scientific question. So here I might be interested in investigating magnetic field strength. So I create my lab report, and then I have this lab report document, and I can begin doing things like adding text. So I might add an investigation question. Maybe I would add a hypothesis that predicts that question, and then maybe a procedure. Then I can actually go ahead and add PocketLab data by clicking this collect data button here. And now, just like we saw on the other page, I can connect to my PocketLab sensor right here in my lab report. So I just click connect to PocketLab. I turn my PocketLab on. I connect to it. And now I'm streaming live data within my lab report here that I'm working on. So I can change, in this case, my data collection from, I have a PocketLab Voyager, so I'm going to change it to magnetic field. I'm going to zero it out and record some data. And then maybe I would do an experiment where I took a magnet and I measured the distance the magnet was away from the PocketLab and measured how the strength of that changed. So here I can save that data that I just recorded. That's right here. I may call it trial 1, and maybe I'll put in some information about how far the PocketLab was from the magnet when I did the recording. I'm still collecting data, so I can streaming data, so I can record on another trial. Save that data. Maybe I would record that as trial 2. And add some notes about that as well. And I can even add an image. You can even add a video as well, just with a YouTube link. So if I had a video related to magnetic field that I found on YouTube that was interesting to this experiment, or that was related to this experiment, or maybe I took a video and uploaded it to YouTube, I could add that just with a YouTube link. And then you have a video here about magnetic field strength and as a resource in your lab report. Finally, you can add a Google Drive file by clicking the Google Drive file icon here. And you just put in a link to a shared document. So you can add a Google Doc, a Google Slides, Google Sheets. You can add those documents right into your lab report. Finally, you can share your lab report with others by clicking this share button, which gives you a link that you can use to share your lab report with others, so with other teachers or with other PocketLab users. It's a great resource to share some of the things that you're working on with your PocketLab. Those are the basics of using the lab report feature in PocketLab Notebook. So again, you can create these lab reports. You can also simply record PocketLab data and just keep saving it to your trials page and access those saved recordings from any device. And then finally, if you want some additional teacher features, if you're a teacher and you want to use this in your class with some additional features, you can get the PocketLab Notebook Pro version, which has the ability to add a teacher dashboard, create student accounts, put those student accounts into rosters, and then assign lab reports to students so you can monitor their progress as they work through investigating a scientific question. So we'll go ahead and check out the PocketLab Notebook Pro version right now. PocketLab Notebook Pro has some additional features that you can use in your classroom if you're a teacher. So we'll check that out right here. You can create classes in PocketLab Notebook Pro. So here are some different classes that I've created in my account. I can look at this physical science class here. And I can see that there's a student roster. So you can create student accounts for your students to log into their PocketLab Notebook account. And then those accounts are in your classroom, and you can assign them lab reports for them to work on. So here I've created some lab report assignments and I've assigned them to my students, and I have them working in lab groups. So here you can see this lab report assignment, investigating an object's motion. I've created a few different groups for the students to work on together in the lab report. And this first group here, I can actually see the progress that they've been doing in their lab report. So if I click See Lab Report, we're going to go to this group's lab report that they've been working on in this activity investigating an object's motion. So I created this lab report activity. I gave the students some background information to read. I gave them a diagram to set up a half-Atwood machine with some materials that we have. I gave them an investigation question. How does increasing the applied force on an object affect the acceleration of that object? And then here you can see they had a hypothesis section, and the students went in and answered that section with their own hypotheses. So as a group, they can answer these questions individually, but also see and collaborate with their group members here on questions or on observations, things like that. And as a teacher, I can go and look and see their progress on that as they're working on it. There was a procedure that they worked on, and then down here you can see some data that they collected that you can monitor in real time as the students are collecting that data in their lab report. They would go on to answer some data analysis questions, some conclusion questions, and more. So the students themselves can work in these lab reports that you've created, or that we have some lab reports as well, written by the PocketLab team, written by some people in our community that you can use in your classroom with your PocketLab Notebook Pro account. So those are some of the basic additional features of the PocketLab Notebook Pro account, the ability to create classrooms, rosters, and then assign your lab report assignments to students to work on collaboratively in lab groups, and the ability for you to monitor their progress. Thanks so much.